Number 5, okay, now we get back to the Jaden Daniels discussion because I have Malik Neighbors at number 5. Malik was a dude last year. He had 89 catches for over 1,500 yards, right? Now, granted, if he had played as many games as Rome Odunze, I think he's going to have better stats, but he didn't, right? Even so, that was one of the guys that you had to absolutely take away for Jaden Daniels to not be successful, to not win the Heisman Trophy, and nobody could do it with any sort of regularity, right? I think this dude in particular is the Zay Flowers of this particular draft class. I think that if you lined him up in the slot, he can do anything you want. I think he can lead your team in receptions. I think if his talent lives to my goodness, the plays that he's making in the middle of the field where he's outrunning people, those are the ones that really spook me out if I'm a defense coordinator, because he's going to catch the ball. It's, can you get him on the ground as soon as he catches the ball? And the answer is usually no. Run after the catch is what this man does so much better than many of his peers. He's going to get up those extra yards. He's going to do this against SEC competition. And again, he looked outstanding against some of the better teams that they played. Number 4 on the list, I got Drake May, North Carolina's starting quarterback last few years. I don't know what to do with Drake May because there's a part of me that believes he is perhaps the best polished quarterback in this NFL draft class. And you look at his size, you look at his arm talent, you look at his ability to move. The way that I'm talking about Jaden Daniels is what Drake May has shown at UNC for his entire career, right? He can make it happen with his feet. He can also pick you apart through the air. You give him a couple of wide receivers that know what they're doing and let him cook with the offense. It's just in those crunch time moments, I'm not sure if he's got it just yet. I'm thinking of last year against North Carolina State, where it felt like the game was in his hands, 2022, and he just came up short. But maybe that's something that you grow into. I think guys can grow into being closers. I think guys can grow into being ready for the moment. And Drake May has everything else that you want. It's just that he have it mentally to be a starting quarterback on what would probably be a bad team because they would be drafting so highly. Number 3, I got tight end Brock Bowers coming out of Georgia. And I can understand how some folks might believe that this is a little too high. But given what you saw Travis Kelce do in the playoffs, given what you've seen Travis Kelce do with Patrick Mahomes, given what you know about George Kittle, and given what you know about the tight end position in the NFL, think about Mark Andrews as another guy, Brock Bowers is a game wrecker. He is big, he is fast, he is strong, and he will make his quarterback right. I'm thinking about last year when Stetson Bennett, or year before last, Stetson Bennett was quarterback, and he's making plays against Florida where Stetson Bennett absolutely tried to throw the ball to the other team. Now, was he as prolific last year as he had been in years prior? No, but that also was a Georgia team that didn't win the SEC championship. The man showed up as a true freshman, and they could not keep him off the field in a wide receiver, in a tight end room that included Darnell Washington and Eric Gilbert. The reason I want to make that clear, Darnell Washington, 6'7", 260. That dude I thought was going to be playing in. No, he's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Eric Gilbert was the highest rated tight end in recruiting rankings history. And Brock Bowers is the jewel of that tight end group and quite literally the best tight end to ever come out of the University of Georgia. If you are looking for a guy to add to your roster that's going to make your quarterback feel great, Brock is that dude. I'm looking at him and I'm going, Jim Harbaugh might be talking all this noise about, Roman Wilson and these offensive linemen and J.J. McCarthy, but you need to go get Brock Bowers and make Justin Herbert happy and then go do what it do, baby. Because I think that guy can do anything he wants on a football field, and I don't know there's a whole lot of people that can match up with him. It's a nightmare. Number 2 on the list for me, Ohio State wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., the first player in Ohio State history to have multiple 1,000-yard receiving seasons. I know that's difficult for some people to wrap their heads around, but that's because they haven't been watching Ohio State for the last, 100 years. That's a running program. They like to run the football. They've always loved to run the football. It's only here recently when Ryan Day basically started to call the offense that they started to sling the ball around, and Brian Hartline upgraded that wide receiver room into the monster that it is, right? Marvin Harrison Jr. wasn't the best wide receiver on his own team 2 years ago, right? We're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. having to argue for time with guys, not argue, but had to challenge for time, right? With guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, with guys like Chris Olave, with guys like Garrett Wilson, right? Then last year, when he was the offense, he rose to the occasion. Won their first Biletnikoff Award since Terry Glenn in 1995. Was a Heisman finalist at the wide receiver position, and there is no catch that 6'4", 205 Marvin Harrison Jr. can't make. The reason I got him at number 2 is because he plays wide receiver. That's it. It's a dependent position, meaning that if the quarterback ain't any good, it doesn't matter how talented Marvin Harrison Jr. is. It only matters that you can't get him the ball, which is why I land at number 1 where a lot of folks land at number 1. Caleb Williams, coming out of USC, another Heisman winner, another Lincoln Riley quarterback. And I feel like his draft process is going to it's going to encapsulate Kyler Murray's draft process and Baker Mayfield's draft process just together, because he's as polarizing as Baker Mayfield and he's as talented as Kyler Murray. Right now, Kyler Murray might be the most talented athlete on the face of the earth just because I know baseball and I know what he was capable of doing over there, and see what he was able to do win a Heisman at Oklahoma is one thing, but he has what Kyler has, what Patrick Mahomes has, an ability to make plays when plays are dead. I'm telling you, plays are supposed to be coffin nailed, and that dude spins out of them, finds somebody down the field, makes an impossible throw. It is the kind of talent you can't teach anybody. And he is confident enough to believe he can pull it off. And he's coming out of a system that really does give the quarterback a lot of free reign to do what he thinks he needs to get the team into the best play. We all know Riley's pedigree in grooming quarterbacks, right? I mentioned a couple of them, but this guy is the most talented one that he has had. Now, he's coming off of a middling 23 year by his standards, especially coming off of that, what we saw from him previously. But I think that you're going to have to find a fit for him, right? Meaning, I get that people want him to go to Chicago. I think Justin Fields is great, but you know how I feel about Justin Fields. I don't know that he fits, right? I'm looking around and I'm really asking myself, what kind of a franchise can deal with the bright personality and the brashness for which Caleb Williams is going to walk in? I would like to think all 32, but Caleb Williams, for me, I would not mock to say the Pittsburgh Steelers. You get what I'm saying? It's a different sort of franchise. However, send that dude to Minnesota, right? Maybe you got something. Maybe with Mike McDonald and Ryan Grubb, they're going a different way at Seattle. I could see other fits is what I'm saying, right? I don't think anybody should be set on him going at number 1 unless somebody else trades up to get that spot. I think Caleb Williams is going to be a great quarterback in this league. It's just whether or not, as a rookie, is he going to be Bryce Young or is he going to be C.J. Stroud, for which the book is still open on both of those guys, but they are definitely going in 2 different directions. A couple of other notes that I kind of want to hit on, or one in particular, I should say, before we get off this segment. You'll notice that in this top 10, I do not have a single Michigan Wolverine. I'm making that plain because I checked ESPN, CBS Sports, and Pro Football Focus, and none of us have a Michigan player among our top 10 best available in the 2024 draft. This is with the knowledge that Michigan has had more players selected for the NFL Combine off of one team than any other team in history, and could set the new mark for the most players drafted in a single draft since Georgia with 15 in 2021. Okay? It is more about what Jim Harbaugh was able to pull off last year, especially with the last 3 years, where that program, that team, has demonstrated itself to be greater than the sum of its parts. It kind of fits that Jim Harbaugh's 15-0, perfect season, the one that solidifies him as one of the great college football coaches, great football coaches we've ever had, did not have an Aiden Hutchinson, right? Did not have a no doubt number 1, number 2, number 3 overall pick, right? We didn't see the Blake Corum that we'd seen the year before. We're not sure what to do about him, right? J.J. McCarthy, I asked my guy Rob Rang about this. I said, do you have any Michigan player in top 10? No. Top 20? No. Who do you get to first? J.J. McCarthy, just outside the top 20, right? That is where they are. That is who they are. It's also how I'm probably going to talk about Michigan for the rest of the offseason. But I just need to point that out because I don't think we're going to see something like that ever again. I don't think we're going to see a college football team go 15-0, or I should say not 15-0 because we're going to go to a 12-team playoff, win a national championship and not have a guy selected among the first 10 selections. It would boggle my mind if we did that again in my lifetime. But again, one more time, Jim Harbaugh coached his behind off, even as he was not even on the sideline for 6 games last year. Michigan, my goodness, writing its own book.
If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.